welcome. I'm just glad you're tuning into this at the moment. I think a few of you actually have been here before, but maybe quite a lot of you haven't. I think it's a pity we can't meet you in person this year, but on this occasion. But probably later it can happen. But I think it's a great idea of Open Studios to put this venue on. I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic idea. I'll take you inside to show you some of my pictures. Some people will remember some of them. They've probably changed a bit over the last couple of years. Look forward to showing you things. Some of you may remember some of my older stitching ones when I put little bits of fabric together and had fun and played around. This is one that and there's one here that there's more stitchy bits, more bits of fabric left over. I've enjoyed doing these. I haven't done any for a while. I may get back to them because I do have lots of bits and pieces to stitch together still, and I love putting bits together. You can see these are just little doodles really, little drawings on them. My Nana's little teacups, which got lovely shapes amongst them, and bits of old fabric from my textile days. This is a painting after a drawing that I did when I was in Lucignana earlier on this year in northern Italy. And if you look closely, you can see that it's on pieced fabrics. It was on top of an old painting. That was a bit of a challenge. Very interesting to work on. All the joins that are already there. Probably made it more interesting, but quite difficult to work with. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. At the same time, I did this. Well, this one's not finished actually yet. There's some more work to do on this one, but it gives the colours of Italy, which are quite different to ours, and the sun saturated. Mind you, we've had plenty of sun recently, haven't we too? But the buildings, and that's a view from my friend's flat in Lucignana. Then next to it we have one of the blossom trees coming out on Tremoli. A bit more of a classic painting there of the rooftops and the blossom trees. Probably weren't out as far as that one. I would use a bit of artistic license, but I just loved all the trunks and with the town sat behind above them all. I do get a lot of my inspiration from the garden, especially recently when we've been on lockdown. There's so much happening all the time. It's an absolute joy. The apple trees I've been trying to capture, as you'll see in a moment, but everything's going too fast to capture it all. This one was done last year. I think this brings forth a little bit of my textile background. This is the garden, the flowers, but associated a lot with the iCats weaving that I did when I was at college, or I certainly became aware of, and I just loved the way that the colours seep down and bleed into the yarn. And then you get this lovely effect with the iCat. You get with the wool and the silk and a different absorption of colour. I tried to capture some of that in this one. Some are shiny bits and some are duller bits and more saturated bits. This is another one about the garden, somewhat abstract again. It's textilely influenced again. But when I got into this, I did far more scraping into the picture, which I rather enjoy doing. I just love the blues and the greens, and the splashy colour, and they were actually in my garden, so that's quite lovely to have this on the spot. I'll just take you to some other pictures which are flowers from the garden again, but more one particular one, which is a smaller one from the garden, which was done last year. It's all the pinks and the different levels of colours of the pinks. I'm almost going to orange. Just little flowers in the garden. And then again into the scrapey bits again, if you can go in close to that. I love scraping through and find the colours below. Usually lots of layers of paint on my pictures. These are flowers from the garden, but I started putting them into the pots that I have around in the house. Pots that belong to my grandmother and my mother. These are dog roses from the bottom of the garden. They're slightly exaggerated in size. I just loved the shape of them and the colour, and that's another one I rather enjoyed doing. There's another one, there's more of a still life, and I started doing still life more last year, enjoying all the pottery again, as I already mentioned. A little jug I love, and some Hong Kong bits of pottery and bits from my parents, and there's a little flower in it. There's the snowdrop, which was done last year. And a dear friend of mine who spent the day with me and we painted together. Here's another one with the flowers, are very tiny daffodils from the garden. But this is painted on a different texture really. It's wood that has been lost some of its surface in places. If you go close you can actually see some of the... I enjoy working on different surfaces, I've already mentioned, and this certainly was a bit of a challenge to work on this. But then the Hong Kong pots again, and the little jug that keeps coming into it. There's another snowdrop one in a pot, which I'm not quite sure where that one came from, but it's a pretty one, some nice colours. This one, which is the same subject matter as the one I've shown you previously, but that's done onto a canvas, so it's a completely different effect. More classical. So that is just acrylic on canvas. It's not too big, that one. It's about... I feel I've become a little bit more confident with colour and just enjoyed throwing colour on and daring to put colours against each other. I had a little holiday. Bought a place in the Caribbean, which was quite a luxury thing, that some friend of ours invited us to join them, which was rather wonderful. But those were the Caribbean sort of colours. There are a few notes from my sketchbook. This one particular one was actually done in Cracow when there had been a lot of snow, so it was a nice day out I had, going along the lanes and doing some drawings and some photographs, and I actually did a quick painting of it, which is not as successful as the drawing, I don't think. Just more drawings from my sketchbook. The hills and the walls. A little drawing here of the camp at Linton. I was lucky to get in it. I was invited to do some work there. I did a whole series of things, but that's the one I can find at the moment. And the other thing I've been doing is about memories, which it was great fun really, just remembering. This was my nana, my grandmother's kitchen in Yorkshire, in the mining village. There's the copper tank, there's the single sink, and she had one gas ring. She did have an oven, but it was a fire oven. There's a gas lamp, there's the beautiful curtains that she used to, especially the pelmets, were ironed and starched, and that table, always nice things to eat, always nice things to eat. There's a peg rug there, there's a stool which I still have. In the foreground there is actually a part of a chair which we used to sit on the edge of it to eat our food. My brother has that chair in his house now. And go to the next one here. Yep. There's another one here from my memory, things I've not worked on yet. My Nana Grove's bay window overlooked the bus stop, and she used to love telling us about all the people, where they were going, where they're coming from, and about their morals and things, which we do. It was really quite, in her view anyway. But the lovely things she put on the table, made from nothing sometimes. We're talking about late 40s, early 50s, not that long after the war. But always nice things to eat, always. And the jellies and the celery in the glass jug. Just going to show you some of my smaller drawings. These are fairly quick ones, but I did a lot of preparation. Sticking bits of card together, bits I could find around, paint it with black gesso, and then painting little objects that I had, household things and bits of flowers that were in the garden. It's quite special. I rather enjoyed doing that. I've got a couple to show you as well here. Just move along. This was another one. It's quite oriental looking, probably. Some of my favourite pots again. Sat on a little table mat, which looks quite, I say, adds to the oriental feel, but colours and bits of flowers that were still in the garden end of last year. And one more. Again, one of my favourite little jugs there. If you see, there's all sorts of bits stuck onto this card. Bits of paper edging, I don't know, just bits of card, bits of painty bits, and a bit of forsythia that was coming through, winter jasmine, and this Georgian little tumbler that a friend of mine was going to just throw away, but it has got a chip in it, but it's lovely. I keep using it for things. Here's another little one. I was down in Cornwall. This is the latest thing I've been working on. I was quite taken with the apple trees, which are, as a drawing I did in the garden, before they started really popping with all the little green leaves, and now the little pink flowers, and now the big pink flowers. It's moved very quickly for me. Nature's naughty, isn't it, when you want to get into it? But this painting is maybe going somewhere. I'm enjoying it more now. It's not finished, but the colours come out, and I think for me it's there to use some different colours what I would normally use. And just want to thank you all for just looking in on this today. I just hope that you can maybe probably see me sometime. There will be all my details on the website that you can look at, and if you want any more information, I'm very happy to give it to you. Prices, sizes, there will be more details of that online. But thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you here sometime.